Yes, is this the 911 in Whoville? Yeah. This is Inya. Oh, my last name is Business. Yes, Inya Business. Yes, and I need to report something. It was stolen. It was stolen from me. Oh, describe him. Okay. Let's see. He was green. Yeah, green and fuzzy. And when did this happen? It happened. Okay, so I was outside and I was watching my neighbors and I was listening to their conversation. Yeah, and they were doing some things. I wasn't quite comfortable with what they were doing. But yeah. But then the green guy came and he stole my peace. What? No. You can't be right now. Mm-mm. It's an inside job? No, this is not an inside job. Oh, you think I need to go visit my cousin, mind ya? Mind your business? Well, that's just rude. And isn't it like that, y'all? We get moments where things outside of us steal our peace. And when I look at this picture behind me, you can't really tell. Like, it could be seen from the Grinch is getting ready to come in and steal your package and do his little and walk away, or maybe it's the end and he's revealing. And so with curiosity and with play, I went and looked for some information. I went to truthunity.net and went down the wonderful rabbit hole that I like to go down when I'm looking at all things unity. This is a newspaper cover from May of 1915. And it was over 100 years ago, and still, here we are today, and we're searching for peace. And in this article, the co-founder of Unity, Charles Fillmore, is upset. Like, this was a different tone from Charles Fillmore that I'm used to reading. He was very on the edge. He actually got political in this article. I was like, all right. And looking at what the article was, and then I looked back, okay, what time was this? This was World War I. When communication, when you're receiving it in World War I, to the masses was newspapers. There wasn't TV, there wasn't social media, there wasn't all this extra stuff bringing forth this news. And I can only imagine what it must have been like to get breadcrumbs of what was going on then. And I imagine, as they did, received so many letters at Silent Unity. Actually, this was before Silent Unity. That was 1924. But they were receiving letters of, what do we do? How do we find peace? And here we are, over 100 years later. There's two major battles going on, separate countries, and I'm sure there's a lot of conflict that even with all the news that we get, that we might not get full story about. And I was reminded of a blog by Lee, one of our congregants. She's a writer, and so she's doing some studies on war and realizing this conflict, this paradox of war and peace, and this mindset of you have to do things to achieve peace, and sometimes there are things you don't like, and then finding that rest. And every day we're confronted with situations where it's just can bring us to that point. So I read through the whole article, and it kind of, in a way, it summed it up as, You have to find peace within. And until everybody does that, we won't recognize our oneness. Charles was a little more assertive in his verbiage that day. He was kind of like a dad when the kids have gone amok, and he's like, for the love, if you would just center in. And then I could manage the image, the conflict that he had within of how do I express what I need to express, keep my peace, and get it out and be transparent and real and authentic on paper in this Unity magazine that was printed in August of 1915. And he closes with this: non-resistance is resistance, transferred from the external to the internal. Non-resistance is self-resistance. Every day, we are confronted by situations where non-resistance, that is to say, self-control, means a chance to strengthen our inner power, while giving way and striking back means a chance of self-mastery lost. One may well be too proud to fight, too proud to allow his poise to be upset by someone who chooses to injure or insult him. And so I got a little curious about non-resistance, because non-resistance sometimes can be interpreted with this mindset of all is well, and you go about your business. And that gets you really, really close to sinking into the possibility of apathy. In non-resistance, we can find ways to be at peace, aware of our correct connection with the divine Christ consciousness. Metaphysically, that's what peace is, connecting to your Christ consciousness. And we move forth and we radiate that peace through kind action. Or we can be disconnected completely and abandon self, human self, and abandon self, capital S self, as well as the world around us. So while we can return to our center, it's that where we go find that peace to be able to do what is ours to do in this world. Non-resistance does not mean that what troubles us doesn't matter. If it didn't matter, then it wouldn't trouble us. But we have to move from this spiritual malpractice and a privileged perspective of this doesn't affect me, so all is well because I can go and recenter and I'm good. We have to move from that space to where we can be that action. And so when I look at what we have done as a community to find something in the world that brings us unrest. People are hungry. Not everybody has a home. And then we do things like the picture. We find our peace and we do what we can to make a difference in the world. Jesus, by example, led us to know that we can restore our peace through prayer, and then we set ourselves out to do God's work, to do what is ours to do. And for Jesus, some of those things were healing and preaching and flipping tables. He stayed grounded, knowing that the peace was his. He was never without it. Did you know that you have 100% of all the peace you're going to need right here, right now? On your worst day, when everything is amok, you have all the peace that you need right then. Because we're never without it. It's part of us. And so we lose awareness of it. So we need to bring ourselves back to that center awareness. Focusing on our Christ consciousness brings our awareness of peace, and then we can radiate it outwardly. So the picture up to your left, I think of it like people that are always searching for peace. I need peace, I need peace, I need peace. And they don't quite receive it. They get bits and pieces of it, right? But it's not fully, they don't have that aha. I could come to it any time. It is mine. It is mine. Peace is not, in this sense, it's not a feeling. Peace is a state of being with a capital B. We cannot make someone embody peace. You can't. You can bring them to a point where they might feel peaceful for a time, but you can't hand over peace and say, here's some peace. It's temporary when it's that. But when you come to realize that the peace that is within you is your Christ center and your Christ consciousness that never goes away and never dies, never loses power, never loses power, then we just need to plug into the source. When we rise to that consciousness, to our full Christ awareness, this Christ consciousness is that essence of our being. And so I looked for some ways, because I realize I give you guys examples a lot, and sometimes I feel like they're repeating, right? And so there's some repeats, but this is from Psych Central, and it is a blog by Crystal Rapel. And so she comes with 6 ideas. And this is those bring you to your moment where you can recenter, to you, where you reconnect to that spark that you know is you. One of those is accepting what cannot be controlled. And I say accept loosely because sometimes to me accept means, okay. And if it's something that's out of alignment with how God wants us to be in this world, how we are to behave with one another, you can't just say, oh yeah, bad things happen, it just is. You're accepting the fact that some things you don't have control over them. So what you're accepting is the lack of control on your part, not that the thing didn't happen. And so we can move for that into, I can't control this, but I can bring myself to center to be so that I can listen to Spirit. So that if there is anything that I can do, I will hear it, I will receive it, and I will act on it. Forgiving yourself and forgiving others. Self-forgiveness is just as important because if you don't forgive yourself for whatever it is, then you're carrying more weight than you need to carry. Same thing if you're not forgiving others, because this forgiveness part's not for the other person, it's for us. And forgiving yourself, well, sometimes it may be for the other people, but it really is for you. It may benefit other people. Staying focused on the here and the now. You can be in difficult situations and take apart and set aside sacred time for 5 seconds, I'm going to focus just on love. Sometimes all we can muster in the muck is 5 seconds. Sometimes we can make it a minute where I focus on the power that is within. And you can make it to go longer and longer. Sometimes we are in situations where it's difficult to find that time apart. Sometimes it's a situation where we're not in safety. So take the time. You got to take care of your human body too, so that you can be able to center and connect to that divine essence. So do what you need to do to find that safe space. And then you can go within. And then you can go within and sit. For me, it was as easy as putting myself at the shore of a body of ocean or a lake. But whatever that peaceful space is for you, you can be there and be present in that moment. You can go within. Another help is to journal your thoughts, journal your emotions, and to feel your emotions. It's important to be able to emote when you need to emote, and to know that there are places where you can go to do that and you are safe. When you have the time to journal out your thoughts, you're able to take that time and put your heart, your gut, your everything onto that paper. I don't like the way this is in the world. This makes me angry. I don't like the way that I was treated the other day. I don't like whatever it is. Or this hurts me. This makes me angry. This makes me sad. And journal the good things also. I saw the most magnificent sunrise. It reminded me of blah, blah, blah. Take that time to where you can write down what it is that you're going through, because it will help you get it out so that you can be open to receive. And then another way is to connect to Mother Earth. I don't do that often enough. But I think even when it's cold and icky, and it's not even that cold for people who are from up north, but for us here in Texas, we go outside and we're like, nah, and we want to go back in. But we can observe nature, even if we have to observe it from indoors. We can go and look out the window and watch the birds. Go and take care of what is theirs without a worry. They gather their grain, they do what they need to do, they build their nest, and we don't know exactly where they go when it rains. Like, I've looked outside when it rains, and I'm like, where did the birds go? But they don't worry because they know. So nature, when we spend that time with Mother Earth, it can remind us of, I don't have to have all the answers right now. I don't have to have all the answers right now. I just know that I need to do this thing. This is who we are. Peace is who we are with a capital A. We take the time to emote because it's necessary, and then we breathe. And we remember who we are. I attended many worship services when I was younger, and the minister would be up front, and after the opening prayer, a song or two, the minister would come forward and he or she would say, "Peace be with you." And the congregation would say back. And I got to thinking about that, and I looked at the history of it, this passing of the peace. Why did we do it? Why was it ingrained as part of our Christian upbringing? Why do we pass the peace? And it was a time of reconciliation. Before you can come and bring yourself to the altar, to the space, you needed to be at peace. Now, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it's going to take more than a handshake and peace be with you to bring reconciliation. So what it turned from, I imagine, maybe in the early church might have taken longer. Maybe people did it before they came, and then when they came, the handshake was to acknowledge, I took care of my business, so that I can come and be fully present, so that I can come and be at peace and fully receive. Perhaps. And perhaps maybe liturgically, we could change it up a little bit and bring it into new thought and bring it to say, you are peace. And the congregation echoes back. I'm like, don't leave me hanging, y'all. And it is just that. And it's that reminder, that eye-to-eye reminder of who you are. You are peace. Can you imagine what that would be like if you were in a disagreement with somebody and you walked up to them and said, you are peace. And mean it. Like you see that Christ consciousness within them. You are peace. Perhaps, maybe shouldn't we extend peace as a gift? Peace is not a gift, it's a declaration. If we declare peace as one's very essence, it reminds us of who we are. I am peace. You are peace. And so while we have this time in our litany where we look at peace, and we want to have that tendency to look at the world around us and sometimes not see it, Charles was kind of right in his very firm stance in that article of unless we begin to recognize the Christ, the light, the love, however your faith practice defines it, that part in you that is brighter and stronger than anything, so much so that you can't explain it. Once you connect to that, the peace within that, then it can't stay inside your body. It has to radiate out. Energy doesn't stay stuck. You are peace. So here's where I usually give you homework. And I want to encourage you to not be like Enya, business. I want to encourage you to be more like Mindya, business. But when you are minding your business, it is your soil to which you plant things. It is your factory with which you make things. Your inner work is your workshop. So that what you make outside of it radiates that Christ light that's within us. So spend some time going about your world, and when you feel off center and you feel like peace is out there, look to it in here so that you can put more of it out there. Shine on, y'all.